All right, so you want to be a great software developer. Let's talk about some of the principles that you can develop to become a great software developer. So the difference between a mediocre developer and an excellent one isn't about knowing more programming languages or memorizing more algorithms. After hiring hundreds of developers over my 25-year career, I can tell you the best developer I've ever worked with weren't necessarily the ones with the highest IQs or the most prestigious degrees. They were the ones who mastered certain principles that most coding bootcamps and computer science programs can't seem to mention, and this is even ours, right? So today I'm going to share with you the 12 core principles that separate the top 1% of developers from everyone else. These aren't just theoretical ideas. These are exact qualities I look for in hiring senior developers and CTOs for multi-million-dollar projects. And trust me, there's a lot of these you're going to really want to listen to. So let's dive into some of these today. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer Thomason. Here at Startup Pack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding bootcamps and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right. So as I was saying, becoming a truly great software developer isn't just about coding skills. It's about mastering principles that transform how you approach problems and work with other people. So let me break down the most important principles that I've learned from working with thousands of developers across my career. All right, now the biggest mistake that developers make is jumping straight into coding before truly understanding the problem they're trying to solve. I know I'm a developer, and so immediately I start diving to the code. You got to make sure you break down the problem, solve it, and solve the basic parts of it and understand all the requirements first. I've seen entire projects fail because teams built elegant solutions to the wrong problems, wasting months of development time and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So great developers treat requirements like a detective treats evidence, questioning assumptions, looking for inconsistencies, and digging deeper until they understand the real problem behind the request. So you want to look and ask questions, and asking questions is not a sign of weakness, but it actually demonstrates maturity and commitment to building the right solution. So I can confidently say that after an hour spent deeply understanding a problem, you will save 10 hours of coding and refactoring later. So when someone hands you requirements, your first response shouldn't be, I'll get started, but rather, let me make sure I understand what we're really trying to accomplish here. All right, the next one is you want to think beyond the code. Exceptional developers understand their job isn't just writing code, it's solving business problems, which often involves thinking beyond the technical solution. Sometimes the best solution isn't code at all, but a process change or a better UI design, or even challenging the need for the feature in the first place. I always tell my developers my favorite commits are ones where they delete code. So I've seen junior developers spend weeks building complex features that could have been solved with a simple configuration change or third-party integration that would have taken a couple of hours. The most valuable developers I've worked with in my 25-year career have prevented more lines of code than they've written by finding simpler, more elegant solutions to the problem. Less is definitely more. Great developers think about maintenance, scalability, and business impact, not just whether they can build something cool or technically interesting. So as your career progresses, you'll realize that knowing when not to code is often more valuable than knowing how to code. Now, the next one is embracing simplicity over perfection. The pursuit of the perfect solution is the enemy of actually shipping valuable software to users. I've watched countless projects fail not because the teams couldn't build the solution, but because they kept chasing perfection instead of embracing pragmatic simplicity. Great developers understand that software is never done. It evolves over time. So building something simple that works and can be improved is better than spending months on a perfect solution, because you're never going to hit perfect. I tell my team all the time, done is better than perfect, right? The worst legacy code bases I've had to rescue in my career weren't built by incompetent developers. They're built by brilliant developers who prioritize clever, complex solutions over maintainable, simple ones. Simple, boring code wins every time. So I often tell my team, your code isn't great because it's complex and clever. It's great when it's so simple and clear that it seems obvious. Now, number 4, know your boundaries and expand them strategically. Great developers had a clear understanding of what they know, what they don't know, and aren't afraid to acknowledge their knowledge boundaries. Pretending you know everything is the fastest way to lose credibility with your team and create technical debt that will haunt your projects for years. The best developers I've seen over my 25-year career were never the ones who claimed they knew everything. Now, your learning strategy should be deliberate, right? Focus on expanding your knowledge in areas that align with your goals rather than chasing every new framework or language that appears on Hacker News. The T-shaped skill model works best for developers, having broad knowledge across many areas of software development, but deep expertise in one or two specific domains. So technical skills have a half-life. What made you valuable 5 years ago might be obsolete now. So continuously refreshing your knowledge isn't optional, it's survival at this point. Now, speaking of boundaries, if your company has software systems that aren't properly connected, Startup Hack is here to help you. Just like great software developers need to understand boundaries between components, we specialize in connecting disparate systems to create cohesive solutions. So whether you're dealing with legacy code systems that don't talk to each other or a new application that needs integration, we can help your company's technology work together. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer. We can help you out. All right, number 5, build collaborative superpowers. The myth of lone genius developer is exactly that, a myth, and it has damaged countless careers and projects. The most successful developers I've worked with in my career aren't necessarily the strongest individual coders, but the ones who make everyone around them better through collaboration. Great code reviews aren't about finding mistakes. They're about opportunities to mentor, learn, and ensure the whole team understands the code base. You got to have great communication skills, right? The ability to explain complex technical concepts clearly. So I've repeatedly seen many developers with average technical skills but exceptional collaborative abilities get promoted faster and lead more successful projects. So let's dive into number 6, maintain ruthless prioritization, right? And I mean the word ruthless. My team gets tired of me hearing me say this. The single biggest difference between a senior and junior developer isn't technical knowledge. It's the ability to ruthlessly prioritize what matters. Every time you say yes to one task, you're implicitly saying no to countless others. So you got to make the choice. I've rescued multiple failed projects where the team was working incredibly hard but spending 80% of their time on features that delivered only 20% of the business value. So you got to focus that on what matters the most, right? Not just on these urgent requests. I've learned that being busy isn't the same as being productive. Focus on high leverage activities that deliver disproportionate value. So when someone else asks you to estimate a task, your first question should always be, how important is this compared to the other things that we're working on? All right, number 7, cultivate technical intuition. A lot of times my developers will help me say, there's something about this that smells like this, right? Great developers develop a sixth sense for when something isn't right in their code, even before tests fail or errors appear. This technical intuition isn't magic. It's the result of years of making mistakes, fixing bugs, and developing patterns. When a senior developer says something doesn't feel right about this approach, they're not being mystical. They're drawing on pattern matching from thousands of previous experiences. So I've watched developers over my 25-year experience spot critical design flaws in 5 minutes that would have taken weeks to discover through trial and error. So you got to trust your gut a little bit sometimes with this. And if your gut's telling you something, dig into it a little bit. Technical intuition is like a muscle and it gets stronger the more you use it. But you need to make sure that you train it deliberately by reflecting on both success and failure and study and research a lot. Now, number 8, embrace being uncomfortably wrong. The most dangerous developers I've worked with in 25 years weren't the ones who made mistakes. They're the ones who couldn't admit when they were wrong. I tell my team all the time, hey, I'm going to ask this stupid question. And sometimes it is a stupid question, but through that, we can dig and it's okay to be wrong, right? So great developers actively seek out situations where their assumptions might be challenged. Viewing each one with saying, I was wrong moment was okay. I make it a practice to ask my team members to point out when I'm wrong, and I celebrate rather than punish those who help me catch my mistakes early. Your ego is one of the biggest obstacles to your growth as a developer. The sooner you separate your identity from your code base, the faster you'll improve. Now, let's go into number 9, master the art of incremental delivery. So the art of incremental delivery, right, is the ability to break down complex problems into small, independently valuable increments and this small increments, and it's possibly one of the most underrated skills, right? I've seen projects fail specifically when teams try to build everything all at once. And this can be hard when you're building a new platform, right? That's where you got to go back to the previous one to be ruthless in your prioritization. Great developers think in terms of the minimum viable increment. Not a minimum viable product, the increment, the smallest piece of functionality that can deliver real value and can be built, tested, and deployed safely. So I've learned that projects with 3-month delivery cycles have a dramatically higher failure rate than those delivered valuable increments every 2 weeks or so. Small batches reduce risk, provide faster feedback, improve quality, and keep team morale high through regular wins instead of delayed gratification. So the ability to identify the critical path through a complex system and deliver it piece by piece is what separates developers who consistently ship from those who get stuck in the never-ending projects. All right, number 10, develop business acumen. This is one I hear all the time. I hear that as I'm working with companies, they're like, working with Startup Hack is great because you understand the business aspect of developing software, not just a bunch of writing code. Technical excellence alone won't make you a great developer. Understanding the business context of your software serves as equal importance. The most valuable developers I've hired in my career weren't just coding experts, but partners who understood our business well enough to suggest better approaches to problems. Business knowledge helps you make the appropriate trade-offs. Knowing when good enough is better than perfect because time to market can matter more, or in some cases, you got to know your business well enough to know when having that polished thing is going to be more important. So I've seen countless developers waste time optimizing features nobody cares about while neglecting simple improvements that could dramatically impact the bottom line. So you don't need an MBA, but regularly asking questions like, how does this feature make or save money? And what problems are our customers actually trying to solve? And this will transform your effectiveness. The other thing I tell my developers with this all the time is make sure you're solving real problems, not perceived problems. Because sometimes we go really deep down rabbit holes when we're trying to solve a perceived problem when it hasn't even happened yet. But that kind of also goes back to, the code smells and the ability to kind of trust your gut. So the next one is building your testing mindset. Great developers don't test their code because they're forced to. They test because they know it's the fastest way to build reliable systems and maintain velocity over time. The developers who complain that testing slows me down are invariably the ones whose untested code creates the most production incidents and technical debt. So testing isn't just about catching bugs, it's about designing better, more modular systems that are easier to understand, change, and extend. The best developers think about testability from the beginning. Your goal should be reaching the point where you feel uncomfortable writing code without testing it, not because someone's forcing you, but because you value the confidence and design benefits tests provide. All right, next, practice continuous reflection and improvement. The single biggest predictor of a developer's long-term career success isn't starting talent, but their commitment to continuous reflection and improvement. Great developers regularly step back from their daily work to ask questions like, well, what went well with this? What could I improve? And what should I do differently next time? I've worked with developers who have 10 years of experience, but it was really 1 year repeated 10 times because they never reflected and improved their approach. So after 25 years in software development, I still set aside time every day to review what I've learned, what mistakes I've made, and how I could improve my technical and leadership skills. The most powerful reflection question often focuses on process rather than outcomes. Not just did the project succeed, but how could our approach have been better regardless of the outcome. I actually wake up and spend the first hour of my day reading and studying, both in reflection as well as reading technical material, to make sure that I'm staying up to date on the latest and to make sure I'm never assume that I know everything. So building this reflective practice isn't just about becoming a better coder. It's about developing the metacognitive skills that will make you a better learning anything throughout your career. So again, if your company needs help establishing any of these kind of patterns in your systems, reach out to us here because we love to build custom software solutions for companies, particularly in helping them connect disconnected systems. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer because we'd love to help you out. Now, what are your thoughts? I love to have a great discussion. So the best compliment you can give to me is to leave a comment down below here, and I answer all of them personally. Here at Startup Hack, we love to have a great discussion, and we love to train software developers in our licensed coding bootcamps and to build custom software solutions for companies. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer, and here's some information about our coding bootcamps for if you want to dive into a technical career.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Startup Hack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Startup Hack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely and students can start earning while they learn.
Startup Hack's .NET Coding Bootcamp was a game changer for my career. As someone with no prior programming experience, I was initially intimidated by the idea of learning to code, but the instructors at Startup Hack broke down complex concepts into easy to understand lessons and provided hands-on projects that really cemented my understanding. The curriculum was comprehensive and up to date and got me ready for my first job. What really set Startup Hack apart was the focus on practical, real-world skills. Thanks to Startup Hack, I landed my dream job as a .NET developer within weeks of graduating. I went from knowing nothing about code to building professional-grade web applications in just a few intense months. If you're looking to break into .NET development or level up your coding skills, I cannot recommend Startup Hack enough.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out startuphack.com to code your future and start today.